BMW R1100, and this is a particular historic motorcycle. This is the one that led the funeral procession of Princess Diana. And any particular thing else you'd like to tell us about this motorcycle?
This is just, it's still on the Metropolitan Police fleet, so all the vehicles you're about to see that come in are all owned and operated and still belong to the receiver of the Metropolitan Police. They're not in private hands.
There you go. So this is like a lot of the services today, with the Navy, the Army, the Air Force. They all operate historic fleets because they are very, very good at attracting people in, both in terms of publicity and, of course, recruitment. Now, here we have, what have we got here?
1973 Austin 1100.
Any of you remember the 1100s? I'm sure some of you old enough. This would have been the car you probably got carted down to the shop for on your holiday, in the Morris and the Austin versions of the 11 and 1300s. These were the panda cars of their day. You may see a little time slip this afternoon with one of these when the Sweeney come in. Now we have one of the great all-time cars. Everybody raves about the Mini, but this was a fantastic vehicle, the Morris Minor. And you may know that you could slip an MGB engine in here if you were particularly minded, as a few people did in my youth, and made them a little bit quicker. So this is a Minor 1000, used by lots of district nurses and of course the police as a panda car. Anything in particular we should know about this vehicle?
This one was used as a general purpose panda car. It was used by the inspector of the borough, and that's why it has a radio built into it, which most panda cars don't. Have a look on the roof and see there's an extra area for it.
There you go, so he got a radio, no one else did. Nowadays, of course, they've all got radios, but in fact, I don't even think we used to have one in the cars in those days. They were all extra, and for quite a number of years. In fact, they still were with BMW. Okay, now the Triumph 2.5 litre PI. If you are a bloke of a certain age, this is a vehicle you would absolutely have loved. It was a real toss-up between a Rover 3.5 with the Buick engine in, the Buick V8, or the PI Triumph. Now this was one of the first vehicles with obviously fuel injection. Anything we should know about this particular vehicle?
This particular vehicle used to be a response vehicle used in the West End of London. It was also one of the first vehicles to be fitted with an automatic gearbox, so very precious to us.
There you go, so this is one of the first ones with automatic gears. Now you may wonder why put an auto in a police car? Well, if you don't have to use your left foot, you don't have to keep changing gear. If needs be, you can do other things, so it does free you up a bit to get on with your job, which is that of policing rather than driving if necessary. Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure you will have seen a number of civilian versions of this with the lovely wide alloy wheels, and just coming in, you will have seen them on every police series on TV. I think there's been in the opening sequence of the Sweeney where one of these goes crashing across the screen. So the 3.5 litre Rover. Now this is the Buick V8 engine, I assume. It is indeed. What happened? Rover needed a V8, they didn't want to make one. Triumph had basically built one, but it wasn't terribly reliable in the Stag, although now they have managed to sort that out. So what happened is the guys went across the pond and they bought the rights to build the Rover, as it became 3.5 litre V8. That was a Buick engine, it's an aluminium engine. Got to be very careful about overheating, but very, very powerful. And this engine is used in an awful lot of specialist sports cars. The last incarnations of the old TVRs had this in the Tuscans, bored out to about 5 litres. So this was a particularly quick chase car. Anything we should know about this vehicle that's special?
Did the liver run, which you can find on YouTube, when they brought an organ down through the country to a lady in London, just about got the inside of this vehicle, led that to bring the organ down into the city.
Okay, so this is like the guys on the blood bikes around the corner. This actually led a procession to get a liver from the top of the country to the bottom. So quite historic. It saved somebody's life. Thank you very much. Lovely to see it out and about. If you'd like to go and have a look at it later on, please feel free to wander around to their section and have a look. Now we have another Rover. This must be the V6 Honda engine. It is indeed. Anything you'd like to tell us about this particular vehicle?
And it's the newest in the historic vehicle. Probably the nicest.
Okay, so it is apparently, they think, the nicest to drive, very, very smooth. Of course, Honda have a wonderful reputation for engineering. Hondas never break down, Hondas go on forever, and Hondas are silky smooth to drive because their F1 team really does get some work put into the production cars as well. Now this one has 2 video screens in it, so is that right? Yeah, so this is the sort of car that would be filming you. This is when they started actually checking what you were doing so they could play it back later. So, a lovely Honda engine, V6 engine, police car, and thanks very much for bringing it along, guys. Give it a slow tour around. If you'd like to go and see that later, gives you an idea of how these police cars evolved and what sort of kit they had in them. Oh, now here it is, straight out of the 1970s. This is a Rover P6, 3.5 litre. I know it's a P6 because I used to own a P5B, and that was one of the loveliest cars I ever got into. And this is the next one on from it, aluminium bodied, of course. You had to bolt all the bits on, so it was a little bit cheaper to repair. But this big V8 under this hood made it a very throaty car. And of course, those seats are very iconic. Any Rover seats you'll see, if you look at Top Gear, they've got some as well. These are a lovely bucket seat, one of the most comfortable cars I think you could ever ride in. Again, automatic, again, frees you up to do other things. Anything in particular we should know about this vehicle? Okay, love it or hate it, and I'm not going to get involved in the politics of this. This used to be Margaret Thatcher's car. Okay, thank you very much, guys. You can tell that's a V8 with that rumble, can't you? Now, of course, I can see that's got no power steering, has it? And you're not used to driving cars without power steering. My Mark II Jaguar used to have no power steering, and I used to hate driving that in town. Now, this is a Land Rover. Of course, the problem with a lot of, in the countryside around London, things happen, people need to be pulled out of ditches, they might need a 4x4 to get there in the first place, and this is the perfect tool for the job. The Land Rover basically go anywhere, normally called the best 4x4 by far, and well, anything in particular we should know about this wonderful vehicle?
This is the special equipment traffic accident car. This will deal with any large collisions on any of the arterial routes going in or out of London. It's been known to hitch up chains and actually pull lorries off the side of the road. Very, very versatile machine.
There you go, one of the most versatile machines on the planet, and I know a lot of people in various forces, whether armed or otherwise, have spent a lot of time relying on these particular cars. So thanks very much, guys. Do go and have a crawl over it later, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you'd like to see it. He's going to arm wrestle it out of here, and he needs a nice big swing because it makes it a little bit easier. Now, what do we have here? Looks like Mitsubishi time. So we've moved on from the Land Rover to the Mitsubishi. Tell us what is amazing about this Shogun as far as you're concerned.
The main reason we have this vehicle is to tow vehicles that are disabled on fast roads and motorways. So when they're stopped in a fast lane, they get out of the way as quick as possible. That way with the AA or RAC.
So that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? You don't want to wait for McAllister's to come all the way out from the next junction, so this is the vehicle that tows everybody out, and of course if it's up a bank it needs to get some grip. So thanks very much. Lovely modern version of the 4x4. And the one thing you'll always know about a Mitsubishi Shogun is, as mechanics say, you've never seen them between service intervals. They just do not break. Okay, coming in behind we have Ubiquitous Volvo. And it's one of those vehicles driven by antique stealers and policemen, so it's said. What is so wonderful about this car that you like it so much?
It's the sergeant's car and he doesn't normally let me drive it.
It's the sergeant's car and he doesn't normally let him drive it. Anything we should know about this vehicle? It's got full video capability, of course. Is this going to be used for any particular sort of incident?
This one's got the new digital video system, which means we've got 3 cameras on the outside and 1 on the inside. It just goes on.
So basically, if you come into contact with the police and they are driving this, everything you have done to enable them to stop you and everything you do thereafter is going to be on video. So this, the Volvo, one of the most modern of the police cars we've got in this fleet today, and thank you very much for bringing it in. If you'd like to go see the step change in police vehicles, do go and have a look over on the far side with the guys. Go through them, you'll see how they started from one Panda car and evolved up to this kind of thing. Now this is a bit of a hilarious change, isn't it, from some of the Met police cars. This is a pretty exact replica of a Louisiana State Police car, and the Louisiana State Police have even supplied some bits to this guy to make it even more accurate. Now this is a Pontiac Trans Am. Some of you may remember in earlier incarnations from the Smokey and the Bandit days, they had a 6.6 litre engine. This one has a 5.7 litre LS1 Corvette engine, which means it pumps out 500 brake horsepower. It's about half, well, it's the same capacity in horsepower as our Napier Railton. It will accelerate from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. It is exceedingly quick. Full automatic gearbox, fiberglass bodywork, so it can be easily replaced. It's got an external PA system. Any other bits that we want to go through on here?
No, it's, as I say, the only one in the UK at the moment. It's certainly different. It gets the adrenaline going big time.
So if you can keep the grip, here it is, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. 5.7 litres of American V8 muscle. And just out of interest, that small block Chevy, one of the most made engines in the world. It's been going for so many years. So a big thank you to all the guys from the Historic Police Cars section.